John is a college student living on the edge of a bank overdraft. To keep up with tuition, he spends his nights delivering pizzas for a small local shop, often working well into the early morning hours. At 1 a.m., just as John is preparing to close up, the phone rings. A man on the other end speaks in a low, dragging voice, requesting a large order of 4 extra-large pizzas. The shop is technically closed, but an order that large usually carries a significant tip. For someone in John's financial position, that potential payout outweighs the discomfort of a late-night run to the outskirts of town. Extreme financial pressure has a way of narrowing a person's focus. The need for cash can easily mask the warning signs of an obvious setup. As John leaves the city grid, the environment shifts. The map shows him moving away from the safety of paved roads and into a remote forest, where the path turns into a narrow, unlit dirt track. The trees here are dense and overgrown, swallowing the light from his motorcycle's single headlamp. There are no streetlights and no signs of other people. He eventually pulls up to the address. It's an old, dilapidated house tucked deep into the woods, looking completely dark and seemingly abandoned for years. John hesitates, feeling the weight of the silence. He tries calling his manager to explain the situation and head back, but the call goes straight to voicemail. He is stuck between his intuition and his job. Returning with 4 unpaid pizzas would likely cost him his position, so John decides to approach the house. Before he can knock, a dim light flickers on in a window. Moments later, the front door unlatches and swings inward on its own. John steps into the hallway, pizzas in hand, and calls out for the customer. The only response is a black cat that darts from under a sofa and disappears into a side room. When the cat enters the room, the television and lights inside instantly snap on. From the same room, John hears the clear, distinct sound of children laughing. The house is reacting to John's every movement. The sequence of the door opening and the electronics activating serves to draw him further away from the exit and deeper into the building. John enters the room and finds 2 young girls sitting on a bed. They don't move or speak. They simply sit in the dim light and stare at him. Frustrated by the strange behavior and the long night, John asks them to find an adult so he can collect the payment and leave. The girls remain silent, but their expressions change. Their eyes turn white as they look up at him, their faces twisting into identical, wide smiles. Without breaking their stare, both girls slowly lift their hands and point to the doorway directly behind John. John turns around. Inches from his face is the gray, rotting figure of a tall woman. The pretense of a normal delivery is gone. John is now standing in an abandoned house, cornered by a physical, immediate threat. John drops the pizzas and bolts. He sprints out of the house, scrambles onto his bike, and guns the engine to get back to the main road. He doesn't get far. His tire catches on something sharp. The bike fishtails as the tire blows, and the engine sputters out, leaving him stranded in the dark. He looks into his rearview mirror to check the road behind him. In the glass, he sees 3 figures, the woman and the 2 girls, walking steadily toward him from the direction of the house. Realizing the bike is useless, John runs into the woods. He hides behind a large tree, barely breathing as he fumbles with his phone to call the police. The threat isn't confined to the house. The entire surrounding forest has become the site of a pursuit. Eventually, the sound of sirens reaches the woods. John runs toward the blue and red lights, finding officers standing by his abandoned motorcycle. He tells the police everything and leads them back to the house. They find the building empty and decaying. There are no pizzas on the floor, no children, and no woman, only a stray cat. The following morning, the police share what they found in the local records. The house has been legally vacant and boarded up for 3 years. The timeline reveals a grim connection. 3 years ago, a mother and her 2 daughters were murdered inside that house in a case that was never solved. This graph shows the 3-year silence between the murder and the phone call John received. John quit his delivery job that morning. To this day, the sight of a pizza box or the sound of a late-night phone call causes him to visibly tremble, the reaction of a man who believes he spent a night with the dead. But the most unsettling detail remains. The police confirmed the mother and daughters were gone, but a living person still had to dial the phone to lure John to that house.